Okay, now then, let's hit this right here. This is brakes test 7. ABS prevents the brakes from locking the wheels regardless of road conditions.
True.
Is that true or false? That's true. That's basically how that's supposed to work. You might remember me talking about that little Ford Probe I drove at 70 miles an hour on that slick pavement when there was nobody around, and I stood on it and it stopped like it was on dry pavement. When ABS takes over, it stops further application of hydraulic pressure to all wheels. That's false. It's only going to stop the pressure to the ones that are sliding. A brake light switch is part of an ABS control unit. It is, basically. Whenever you are, it's got to know when you're hitting the brakes, and it also, the ABS turns on some warning lights on the dash and that kind of thing. Number 4, during panic braking on vehicles with one-channel ABS, the front brakes can still lock, and that is true. Right? With one-channel ABS, one channel, that's the one going to the back wheels, right? That would be RABs. With two-channel ABS, the only wheel that is locking up, only the wheel that is locking up is modulated, and that's true too. The mounting of larger than stock or smaller than stock tires can cause ABS control module to set a diagnostic trouble code. That's true. Number 7, a deceleration sensor senses hard cornering during braking. That's not so. While operating in four-wheel drive mode, the anti-lock brake systems on most four-wheel drive vehicles with an ABS will continue to function. That's false. When you're in four-wheel drive, you know, it changes the whole game, right? Oversteer is a condition that results when the front tires lose adhesion during cornering. That's not true either. All right. Now then, let's look at this one here. In hard braking of a vehicle with ABS, if the brake pedal feels to be kicking your foot away, you should A, know that it is an abnormal condition, B, discontinue applying the brakes, C, both A and B, or D, neither A nor B. That's neither A nor B. It's not an abnormal, I should have said no, that it's an abnormal condition. A was wrong because it's not abnormal for you to feel this. Okay, number 11, a wheel speed sensor, A, consists of a tooth wheel, B, rotates with wheel speed, with the vehicle's wheel, C, inputs wheel speed to the ABS control module, or D, all of the above. All right. Now, Willie, this next one is for you.
Really?
Which one of the following steps is done first when bleeding anti-lock brakes? That's number 12. A, partially loosen the bleeder valve on the wheel to be bled. B, with the engine and ignition off, pump the brake pedal several times. C, add brake fluid to the master cylinder reservoir if needed and secure the reservoir cover. D, repeat the bleeding operation until air bubbles have stopped coming from the clear tubing. You're going to pump the pedal several times before you crack the bleeder. That's what they want to see. Sometimes when we're having trouble bleeding brakes and we're, you know, getting smacked around, and I'm not necessarily talking about the ABS ones, you basically are going to put, I like to put a bottle and a clear hose on each wheel, loosen all of them up, and just keep on pumping fluid through there. Now, if it's an ABS, what do you got to do on some of them, guys?
Plug in a computer.
And
It'll do an automatic bleed, and it'll tell you which wheel to go to bleed from there.
was that smooth? Did y'all do that already?
Yeah, we've done it like 4 times.
Was that cool? Did you like that?
I like that.
After y'all busted your fanny and couldn't get the air out, and then you plugged in the scan tool and you were through in 8 minutes?
Yeah, I kind of want all cars to have that now.
It would be nice, wouldn't it? Willie, or what are you asking about, buddy?
You said B?
Yeah, you're going to pump the brake. You know, whenever you're bleeding the brakes, you want to pump the brakes and then have somebody open the bleeder?
Right.
That's what they're talking about, basically.
So that's the first thing you do?
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to look at the,
Well, the answer that they're wanting, I see where you're coming from, but the answer they're wanting is B. I get you. I mean, you're not necessarily wrong.
okay.
Which one of the following steps is done last when bleeding anti-lock brakes? That's number 13. A, partially loosen the bleeder valve with the engine and pump the brake. Which one of those three? Same 4 choices.
C.
That's number 3. That's going to be C. Add brake fluid to the master cylinder reservoir if needed and secure the reservoir cover. Sometimes, whenever when I'm getting tired of having to add fluid if the reservoir is kind of little, I'll get me a clean bottle, you know, that I've got using brake fluid in, and I'll put brake fluid in. Of course, you know, make sure you don't get no brake fluid on the paint and all that, you know. But you're going to take that brake fluid bottle and fill it just about all the way up with brake fluid, and then just turn it up over and let the mouth of it be down in the master cylinder all the time. And then it'll be like a chicken house waterer. As the brake fluid goes below and air can get in there, it'll just keep, you know, it's going to, in the reservoir, it'll keep the reservoir full. That's the point. You see what I'm saying? You know, if you got your,
Something else too, I
if you-
found out.
if you got your bottle like that,
I didn't find out.
and it's open, as long as the fluid's above there, this fluid ain't going nowhere because it can't. Got me? But as this fluid in the reservoir goes below that, it's going to let more fluid go in there to replenish it. That way you don't have to keep going back and adding to your doggone, you know, how you pump, oh, wait a minute, got to check the fluid. You go back up there and you check the fluid and all that kind of stuff. Now, my daddy, he bled brake for 30 years right by himself. He never had any help, hardly. And he would do all kinds of tricks like that. Okay.
You showed me something too. All brakes don't bleed in the same direction either. 'Cause like you had a vehicle right
That
there.
Nissan,
That Nissan.
that 2008 Nissan of jeans, you can bleed and bleed and bleed and bleed and bleed. And if you don't do those wheels in the right order, you won't never get all that air out of them. But it didn't take hardly no time. What was it? It was right rear, left front, and then left rear, right front, or right rear.
Somewhere
something.
it was twisted though.
Yeah, you actually started with the farthest one away and came to the closest one, and then you went to the other rear one, and then come to the other side. It was crisscross.
Yeah.
And we bled and bled and bled and bled. Couldn't get them to bleed without. When we finally looked at the book and it said did it in the right order. Yeah, pay attention. And see, the thing about it is, Daniel Gonzalez had already looked at those words, and he just said, yeah, I know about that. And he went on. He didn't notice that it was telling you to do it in this specific order. You see. And the people that did the body work on that truck after he wrecked it, they didn't bleed them right either, because that thing ain't never had good brakes ever since he had that body work done on. All right, but he says it's great now. Okay, now then, let's see, that was number 13. We got a couple more. We got a little vocabulary match deal here too.
Where?
Huh? You didn't have one? Okay. Y'all don't have a vocabulary match?
No, we
Well, I
got
need to give you
14
one. Okay. One channel ABS has what?
C.
A separate wheel speed sensors for each of the rear wheel. B, independent lockup control of the front wheels. ABS only on the rear wheel. That's the right answer right there. And 15, the wheel speed sensor for rear wheel anti-lock brakes on many Dodge and Ford trucks is mounted in the what?
Differential carrier.
Yeah, right in the middle of the differential character. Okay, let's just try this right quick. What is it that balances front to rear braking?
ABS control module.
What about the proportioning valve?
Yeah.
The proportioning valve. Let's try this next one. What detects sliding or spinning? What component detects it when a vehicle is either, sliding or spinning? That is actually yaw sensing. You know what I mean? You guys ever studied aircraft pitch and yaw? You know what that is?
Yeah.
Yaw and pitch, Okay, now then, what allows access to the control module? That's actually going to be the diagnostic connector, the DCL. Now, which pin on the diagnostic connector is hot all the time?
The red one.
Please.
What? For an OB2.
OBD2, that's right.
16?
16. Good answer. Listen to that guy. Yay, give him a hand. All right, what about ground? Remember what pins are ground?
12 or 14?
No, 4 and 5. 4 and 5 are ground. You crashed and burned on the second one, so you got a 50 on that verbal exam. Okay. All right. All right. Hello there, muchachos. All right, now then, we're going to say number 19 tells whether the vehicle is moving or stopped. What do you think that'd be? G-sensor. If it's moving, the G-sensor is going to have mercury sloshing around in it, closing them contacts in it. All right, and finally 20 as the last one. And of course, y'all are getting rated on these, but we're just giving you a little rundown. Reduces brake pressure to the slowing wheels. What does that? What does it do that? That is actually the hydraulic actuator. Okay, anybody got any questions or comments about that test? Put your name on it. Do not put it in there without your name on it. That just frustrates my work study student to no end when she finds a test with no name on it. She just gets so disgruntled about that.
It makes no sense.
He says, no name, no grade. Huh?